Whoops.
Hmm. Good mute.
PM, are we ready to go? We ready to start the recording?
We did.
We did, all right, welcome, I'd like to welcome everybody to our joint, let me read it right, joint meeting of the city of Boardman, city of Petner, city of Io, city of Irrigan, town of Lexington, Morrow County Board of Commissioners, and the Port of Morrow Commission. So we're gonna start, I hereby call this meeting to order, we're gonna do introductions, we're starting right down there.
Christina Gova, Boardman City Council. Bridget Profit, Boardman City Council. Portis Renee, representing Maryland.
John Doherty, City Manager, Hefner.
Brandon Hammond, City Manager, Boardman.
Eileen Hendricks, for the Morrow staff.
John Moran, Port of All Commission.
Paul Keeper, City Board.
Shoot.
Aaron Palmquist, City of Irrigan Manager. Jeff Reynolds, Morrow County Commissioner.
Heather Baumgartner, Boardman City Council.
Rick Stokoe, Port of Morrow Commissioner.
Mark Patton, Port of Morrow.
Kelly Doherty, Boardman Morrow Commission. Lisa Miller, for the one staff.
Karen Pettigrew, City Manager. Hold on.
Mulligan.
City Council. Any other job.
Oh, no.
Roy Grego, Morrow County Commissioner, Morrow County staff, Matt Jensen.
Randy Warder, and Boardman Morrow staff.
All right, thank you.
And we just.
You can let me do my job or what? Oh, didn't need this yet. No, we're not gonna forget about the individuals online, so we have Autumn and Katie, is that the only two that you see up there?
Correct.
And welcome YouTube, and we have a guest for the part. So, Mr. Trainer, welcome. You know, all right, so I'd like to welcome, yeah, come sit down with us. I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting today, this opportunity for us to share and talk. So we're gonna start with future meetings discussion. So I think there was a little discussion about having this meeting rotate. Is that correct, Mr. Hammond?
I believe that was the topic. So I think the city manager is open to hosting at our council chambers, either July or September meeting.
What's our flavor? Is that something we'd like to do? Is that like some, how would we like to do that? Does everybody need to go? Or, I mean, obviously certain people need to go and some people zoom in. What is our, as a group, what are we thinking?
Would there be dinner, sir?
I'm gonna get back. And it's just not so far, right?
I'll just have to check the buildings. I'll have like a eight block radius of city hall.
All right, so who's the one that would, how would we do, I mean, how are we gonna decide?
I think it would be a discussion, and then again, I think the talk was quarterly, correct?
Right.
So we would just maybe need to pick some, like, when do we want to do this? Or the last meeting we had was January, I think it was the second Tuesday in January, maybe. We just got off in April,
So our next meeting is,
so.
July sometime.
So at our last meeting, we said we wanted to do quarterly, and before asked if we could do it, Joe asked if we could do it on the second Wednesday of the month. So far, again, everybody agreed at that time, and we also let Joe make a schedule, but we can do whatever we want.
second Wednesday of July, is that what we're thinking?
But, or whatever you want.
But you still want that for deputies to have there. And it's a little
Yeah.
problematic with our communities too.
Yeah.
So that's what was proposed on the second Wednesday, but today is Tuesday.
Well, because
Help me.
It's also not the second one.
And it's also the last one, it's because nobody planned one, so
Or you-
Joe and I are like, we need to do something,
You did.
so we hurried up and made one.
Tuesday.
We can do whatever you did with everything.
Tuesday is general work for me.
Don't worry.
Do work.
I do work. The second Tuesday works. And I think Wednesdays are tough for the court and the county commissioners because they need to be rotating to get out of sync and moving. For the second Tuesday, that's what today is. I mean, not really. It's Tuesday. So the second Tuesday will work.
Last.
Katie has her hand raised.
Yes, Katie?
I was just thinking the second Tuesday is usually, I know Ione and Lexington have their city council meetings. So. Just wanted to put that out there.
Any Tuesday. Third Tuesday? Third Tuesday. Tuesdays are generally good, like evening for me, I usually don't have anything else. It's talking about the evening.
You have Thursday. So Boardman's on the first Tuesday. They're on the second Tuesday, and they're on the third Tuesday.
July has a fifth Tuesday, which would probably be clear of all, just because you know, they have a fifth Tuesday.
And it's like exactly 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
July 30th, we're gonna do that. July,
Is that what we're gonna, is that what the consensus is, July 30th?
so Randy, will you be doing all the agenda and everything, and then get a head count for me, is that how that works?
No, if you're the host, we can,
Okay,
yes, I helped, but no, generally the host would do all of that.
okay, yeah, I can set up the Zoom and,
If you don't have the capability, I mean, I definitely can.
no, I.
But you need to know, you can put out a, are you coming type thing, so you have an.
Yeah, I'll send a meeting request, you know. Early July, I'll send everybody just the mailing list that was on this agenda. I'll just send out a meeting request for the Zoom link and then we can get it rolling, 6 p.m. 30th.
All right, sounds like a plan. Anybody else have any discussion they'd like to talk about this? Questions?
So John 6 or 5:30 for John, because he wants to fit. I'm just asking.
It'll be the same, 5:30 dinner and 6 p.m. meeting start.
Okay. Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
is, I would then, just put this on so we get rotating and start looking, for October 29th, that's the 5th Tuesday. Do that every year.
Are there more phone Tuesdays?
Fifth Tuesday,
October 29th, you'd like to snag that one?
I'll do it, and this, we got that many officers.
Thank you. Looking forward to it, Steve, the next drive.
It's a Wednesday?
East, West, South.
It's a
It'll be
Tuesday.
exciting.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
At the meeting, is it just going to be each entity presenting what's happening, or is there going to be any discussion about mutually shared interests that we could work together to solve problems? That was part of the discussion at the last meeting as well.
Sounds like a question for everybody. Because I don't have that answer.
I think it's a good opportunity for us to, you know, when we present our updates for our groups, that you can either solicit or, you know, opinions, so that people can offer it. I think if we keep this kind of a, it's fairly open and still update on there. I know with the managers, we reach out to each other every once in a while, say, hey, what are you doing on this, or what type of ordinance do you have? What type of, ordinance do you have on this subject matter, so I think just having this fairly open for Q and As.
Might be a good idea that we start maybe thinking about what's the purpose of this meeting? Have it written. I mean, right now, it seems like we just, maybe that's all it is where we just share updates. Maybe there is something more specific that we want. What is the goal of this meeting? Maybe there's a mission statement, maybe there is a purpose, maybe purpose isn't the right word. But there's something that we want to get out of this other than just having one night every 4 months, get together. I mean, that would be, that's just something I was thinking, I mean, I come here and I kind of think, why am I here? Other than I'm a city leader. What is the purpose of me being here? Are we just gonna, the question might be, am I just gonna share all the good feel stuff? Or are we gonna talk about hard feelers? Or are we gonna talk about whatever, I mean.
Well, and don't misunderstand my question. I'm very interested in what's happening in all the other entities. I try to stay informed, but I don't always know the things that are happening everywhere. So I like hearing that. I don't want to dismiss that.
No, but I didn't mean I'm saying that. I was just should we have a focus? I mean, should there be a focus one? Or is the focus that we just get together as communities and entities and just share what we're doing? So that we have a better understanding of what's going on. And let the other stuff just be dealt with in separate stuff.
Communication will bring it up. Communication is good for putting a name to the face. A chance to converse with that person you may not have already been to throughout the county. Things that would come up, I think even last meeting, some of the city managers said, yeah, I can help you with that. I mean, we did that after the meeting. We'll work on those things. I think that's part of the value too. If we need to come up with something and work on a project, we all kind of need to agree on it. We can do that, certainly. But I think finding expertise in the room, looking for something we might not know how to do is a good thing.
Any other discussion on this as far as this meeting discussion? Yes.
I agree with that also. I prefer that this meeting be less formal and it's update. I would think that if John's giving, an update on the city of Tucker, we ought to be able to just interact and make it a more casual setting. It really is to get to know each other better and help. It is going to help people's problems. If there's something that one city's been doing that another one needs help with, there is an opportunity to reach out and do it.
Well, we share lines of interest, when think about some of the roads, like Miller Lane is half county and half the city of Boardman, and there might be something that the city and the county want to do there, they need to work together on. So just little things like that this would be a good avenue for just opening up the discussion. I don't know if we have anything on Miller Lane, just sharing that we share a lot.
Kind of reminds the way that it used to be.
Yes.
I just remember 2000 or 2004, that was my opportunity to be on the city council and attend those meetings and be able to, and that time, I do believe it was just the port and the city. I do believe, could be wrong. Huh? It was the county, I guess I don't remember the county guys. I just thought they were all, that's how young 95 was at the age of 30, they were all old dudes, so they probably weren't, but anyway, that was where we just shared things. And we're able to talk about things, and if that's the direction we want to go, I think that's a good thing. All right, moving on, we'll go to the city of Boardman update. So I was given a list, a reminder of all the things that we're doing in the city of Boardman. City council has approved a 5-year capital improvement plan, which they call the CIP, which can be, or the CIP, which can be found on the city's website. The project consists of infrastructure improvements, facility upgrades, equipment needs, and multiple plan updates. That would be this book right here. It has, on this, the website has the same thing. So if you want to get on there and see the plan that the city has for their projects within the city of Boardman with pictures and estimated costs and dates and things, that's it. It's pretty cool. Kudos to Mr. Hammond on putting that together and the city council of approving that. One thing that's under construction, in case you haven't known, is Northwest Columbia Avenue, and that's to be completed by the end of July. Thank you very much, Mr. Hammond.
How is that gonna affect the parade?
They're talking about, yeah, it's gonna affect it huge. I've been talking, we've been chatting that. And it's gonna affect it extremely, because the road's not gonna be done until the end of July, if it stays on.
So it's the same place that was tore up today, or is there more progress moving? Yes.
As far as I know, they're taking up all the asphalt that they're gonna take up, so that center middle past Second Street. I think it's gonna stay, I guess there are pipes on both sides, I would imagine, because they're gonna,
There's some down the middle as well.
but I don't think are they doing anything down the middle?
I think the majority of it is gonna be on the side,
From Second Street to Main?
yeah. But then no.
Could the parade be moved to, like you mentioned, to the other side of town, If you go down like part of Main Street, up 10K, around over to Wilson and come back around?
I kind of gave that to Mr. Hammond to talk to with Cory Philippi
And myself?
to be able to come up with an idea with the plan, because I don't see the parade being on that first 2 blocks with the dirt and the dust. That's just not gonna, the road won't be done. So, yeah, that was we found out that we need to make sure we keep in touch with our postmaster as far as mail goes. No mail was delivered when the road was closed. Ran into that kind of understanding that she would like to be kept in the loop as well. The other one that we have, Southeast Front Street, will begin in June, which is kind of exciting. City Hall expansion is now open, which provides community development services. We are also updating the original City Hall portion of the fresh coat of paint and new flooring. I'm still waiting for the mural that's gonna be coming in the building side. I'm really excited to see what that's gonna look like. It's still coming. Okay. Number 3, water system improvement project continues to progress. The city is currently in the process of making a connection to an existing water line at the water treatment plant that will require bypass of the 300,000 gallon reservoir on Thursday, May 2nd. While the work occurs, water distribution capabilities may be limited. Did we talk to the board and fire department about that too, maybe?
It's mainly the communication's been with the court.
Oh, of course.
The city really should.
Deal with that, yeah.
We talked.
On Monday, April 22nd, the city coordinated a community cleanup day. Participants included Morrow County School District, Tillamook, Amazon, BMCC, Boardman Park and Recs, and Boardman Fire District. There was a total of 10 yard dump truck loads taken to Finley View. And I think we're looking to expand that.
Two 10-yard.
Did I say 2 or just 1? But 2, I'll be clear. And I think the city is looking at expanding that. I know I was talking to Mr. Hammond about it, that we were thinking about how can we expand that, get more community development, and maybe potentially do it more times a year. We were talking about that. The city continues to receive and approve a variety of development proposals, including hotels, restaurants, retail operations, and residential development. the days of when I moved in 1998 and, not seeing that and seeing it now, it's pretty impressive. So everybody who's lived here before, like Mrs. Pettigrew, I mean, you've probably seen a lot of changes. Probably not to call you out on that, but it's pretty impressive to be able to see that you were able to see the change. And it's gotta be exciting. I would think it would be exciting to see the change. So. The city continues to find ways to respond to Governor Kotek's housing production targets and the outcomes of the latest legislative session. Housing production and attention to workforce housing, which is a key priority of Marl County, got more focused than any time in recent memory. City staff will be working closely with the missing middle housing fund to achieve success on this front. Without going into too great detail, Boardman is really working hard on trying to find some affordable housing with land and some developers and things. And I see some really exciting things coming. The council and our city manager is really working hard to be able to get some affordable housing. And that is just super exciting. The days of 300,000, I never thought I would see in the city of Boardman. The city has initiated a minor update to the transportation system plan, or the TSP, to adopt 3 documents in support of transit services delivered through the loop and kayak. This precedes a complete update to the TSP, which will begin in the fall. So a lot of changes are going on in the city of Boardman, which is super exciting. It's gonna be a little hard for some people because I think we're gonna have some roads tore up, but people are gonna see, their money being well spent, and that's exciting. And, kudos to, Mrs. Pettigrew, who was before Mr. Hammond. We did a lot of setting some groundwork, and Mr. Hammond, being able to continue the progress that you've done. So kudos to those 2 individuals and directing the city council to be able to do the things that haven't happened in our community. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask Mr. Hammond.
What year is your TSP?
Old. Do you remember the last time we updated the TSP?
Probably 2008.
Okay,
It's not something we worked on every year. We just were happy, you know, it's a big, long plan, so we were happy when we were checking them off.
yeah. Ours is 2018, and there's some items on it that are, even in 6 years, are somewhat outdated. Some of the ideas, like we have a lot that we've knocked through as far as some of the pedestrian and ADA stuff like that, and a couple road rebuilds, but some of the stuff, even from 6 years ago, I'm like, this is outdated. And looking at the TGM grants that ODOT just had, you know, I was trying to just get bits and pieces, and they're like, well, we can help you do another TSP, but we're not gonna fund one that's 6 years old. And so I was just seeing how other people's are, because I just know ours, it's not terribly outdated. It's not like a water plan, but even 6 years old, some of the ideas and designs that they thought of aren't reasonable for especially with the budgets are now. Because prices are 2+ full just in from 2017, 2018, right?
This for everybody, so I've been at Erie 11 years and we've changed some things. We did our TSB recently, and a year or so we did our comp plan. We now have annexes in the back of those. We have a CIP, and we're gonna have one until I keep hearing. CIP controls everything. So every community, city has to have a comprehensive plan, and they should speak to the goals that DLCD has and all that. Another document you have to have is transportation. So in the back, of all of those, all of those documents that you're talking about, most of the time consultants want to put them in the document, you gotta redo the whole thing. We speak philosophically, ideologically, in what we want to do in various areas in the TSP. And then we put attachments. They're like a resolution. You can change those. Those are simple, fast, and inexpensive. And the meat of the document never changes.
What I'm really excited about this little book right here, this improvement plan. So that if anybody, any of our citizens have anything, what's gonna happen, I can refer them to this. And they can really show the direction that the council is going to do, or the direction they're gonna go. So that it's a living and breathing document. It can, I mean, things happen, development happens, and some things might need to be changed. But if it's not in here, it's not happening probably unless something really major is going on. So this is kind of our guide that we're letting our citizens know, hey, for the next 5 years, this is what you can expect to have happen in the city of Boardman. And just understanding that if something, what Gary Long's property decides to be developed, that could change the direction of this because of whatever goes there, whatever happens, or another, if this development of the housing gets going, that could cause a tweak in this to be able to adjust our comprehensive improvement plan to be able to direct the city on what to do. So as far as the mayor, I'm pretty impressed with this, and I think Mr. Hammond and the council has worked very hard on being able to have that document for us as citizens of Boardman to be able to see. Any other questions? All right, so we'll go down to City of Hettner.
Okay. Anderson Perry is progressing on work on our water and wastewater plans. We developed a biosolids plan and wastewater reuse plan, meeting with DEQ. Anderson Perry is revising those with DEQ suggestions. Our water system master plan will look to be in draft form in June. And after we get the draft form, we'll hold council work sessions with Anderson Perry. And then after the draft has gone through and it's finalized to the state, then we'll look at funding research and one-stop meetings to occur, and capital projects likely to begin in 2026. Our HB 2017 ODOT funds, we closed that out in March. City received our final payments and we used 98% of the available funds that the city had. Couldn't squeeze anything in the snowstorms, couldn't get any paving or crack sealing done once the snow started flying, but we did pretty well overall, over a 4-year span on that, getting some improvements on our streets and sidewalks done. As far as our planning goes, we don't have any new housing permits so far this year, but Winnipeg is very interested in purchasing a couple of city-owned lots to build cottage homes, so there'll be smaller square footage, and market these towards seniors. We have a couple seniors in town that have large, 2,200 square foot houses that is more than a single person needs. So we can get a couple of these, 900 or so square foot houses built up on these smaller lots. That will open up a couple of houses available for, hopefully a family unit to move into. And as far as Hettner goes with our lack of real estate, any house that can go from one person living into it to, a 4-person family is definitely something we're interested in. And we also do have several buildable lots that are in town. We've got some up above the lake. Some of the lots are owned by builders that want to build on them, but we do have some lots that are available to build on. District Courthouse, just kind of in a holding pattern on that. Back in March, we held meetings with Alliance Construction, County, DLR Group, PBS, Department of Justice. And then the next week we had a joint meeting between the city, the county, and port, and talked about possibilities if it's, the site out of the old Kinzu Mill on port property is chosen. City will have some small street projects, including chip seal, steel coat, and, rebuilding, driveway going on this spring and summer. We'll be reserving funds for some future street rebuilds. We've got the way up to the hospital needs to be completely rebuilt, and then also in the future, we want to look at Morgan Street, which is like the one way that comes down from the high school, and then when it gets to the bottom of the hill, it turns into a two-way. That's one we want to look at, like safe school routes. There are a lot of kids who use that one. Expanding that, adding sidewalks, rebuilding that road. Those will be a couple of years out when we finally have the funds available on that. New city well, city's looking at building a well up on we call it Cross Hill, east of the hospital up that hill. Looking at design, location, funding, bidding process after we complete our water master plan. Looking hopefully 2026 is when that would go under construction. That would be something that we would tie into our existing drinking water supply, and then it's something we definitely need for water redundancy and security. All of our other water comes from Willow Creek, and we have nothing if there's any sort of emergency, we lose our water system. You know, we've got a very short supply of domestic water available. So that's something that one can help us with future development, and then also give us redundancy and security on our water system. City Public Works has assumed maintenance role for Willow Creek Park District. We signed a contract with them to do their maintenance of their park district owned parks and maintenance on the pool. That started 15th of April. Big one as far as I feel, looking at remodeling City Park and gonna update all the equipment. That equipment, it's at least 25 years old. The list of donors on there thanking has Kinzu on there, so like it's gotta be 1999 at the latest. But it's outlived its lifespan. So I'm working on designs, and big thing that we're pushing as far as especially looking for grant funding is having inclusive park designs, park equipment. Think of it as handicap or ADA. The city really doesn't have anything in our parks as of right now that can be accessed and enjoyed by somebody that has limited mobility. So we've got some dedicated features that will go into this park. We're gonna put up, so basically the bathrooms will stay where they are there, and kind of everything else is fair game for tearing out new swing sets, new jungle gym, main structure, some inclusive standalone items, and then a picnic structure that will be new sidewalks, 6-foot sidewalks. We've got accessible sidewalks, and then actual getting to the equipment will be accessible to you. You won't just hit a dead end and have grass or bark dust to cross to get the equipment. So that one, we're hoping to start that once school starts back up in the spring, so we don't take away the work in the summer. But that's something that the youth and the parents are excited about. Let's see, we've had discussions with Morgan County Planning on extending our regrowth boundaries to include the Port Mill site. It's still been very preliminary. We need to work with county planning on the DLCD goals to get that done, and then include the port on that once we have an idea of what it actually takes as far as adoptions the city has to make, and then working with the port on that. Going along with background, we've had a couple of chats with Lisa, and we had men involved as far as, you know, when I was looking at the courthouse possibly moving out there, interest of city supply of water and sewer services. And despite somebody watched the candidates meeting last night, the city does have the capacity to take the wastewater from from development at the old mill site. And we're only about 60% capacity on our system during the summer when we're at peak. And water, we've got water we can provide out there. So Lisa and I had some just preliminary conversations about what that would take, and it's something that we're open to in the future if there's interest on their part. Anything that can help spur development, once that flood mitigation work gets done down there, we're excited about possibilities in the future. Let's see. Our investment policy went through the Oregon Short-Term Fund Board and was approved, and it's gone through council resolutions. So we're all good to go on our investments. We have greater flexibility and time frame we can do with our funds when we're looking to put money away for our long-term capital, which as of right now, just our water and wastewater projects are looking about $26 million the next 10 years. And that's 2024 prices. That doesn't take into account our street projects. Probably got $6 million in the street projects I could do today. But the investment policy getting past that gives us a lot more flexibility on looking at some of the higher yield long term going out there, about 3 years and some of those. And let's see, water telemetry, that's project we're moving forward with on all of our wells. We go from in town 14 miles up Willow Creek to the Lake Ranch turn is our furthest well. And right now, everything but right at our reservoir number 1 is all manual. So putting in the telemetry there, we'll be able to do everything remote and not have to have public works employees driving up the creek every day of the week to turn a well on or shut a well off or check the levels, verify the levels. So that would be something that will just increase our efficiency, and it should help with our long-term water usage and waste. And last one, budget season's here. So our fiscal year 24-25 budget will be available to the public on May 10th, and on Tuesday, May 14th at 6 p.m. we'll be having our first budget committee meeting at City Hall, and we've got that's available on Zoom also. If anyone needs a good sleep aid for the night, you can tune into that. You can knock out about 7 o'clock.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? All right, so you invite home.
I guess I'll do it. So the update for ION, after working 3 to 4 years with DEQ meeting monthly, we finally got our permit for our sewer system. So that's out to bid currently right now. So I'm pretty excited for ION because I'm struggling with many options with DEQ. So we finally settled on one that would work for the community. So everybody in town is pretty excited. We've also got very little pushback on the community members. A few people complained about having the sewer bill that, that bill's only going to be something like $45 a month. So it's actually going to be pretty reasonable. The system he's putting in. The school project is also going well. We've had a pond over there a year and a half ago. That's under construction. The football field is in construction track. We don't do anything there for 30 years at a time, and then all of a sudden we do about 10 projects. Yeah, a lot of changes going on. Yeah, that's all we got.
Any questions or comments for the city of Ione? We're at City of Irrigan.
Well, in Oregon, House Bill 217 is wrapping up. We'll be done with our sidewalk and all that nice improvement by the end of May. That's not wood. And it's about a $3 million project. And in Oregon, so it's exciting. And we're excited to see it get done, even though people don't know what to do. Walk on the sidewalk, on the freeway. yes, I said briefly. About 5,000 vehicles come from the east to the Port Mall every day. Around the other way. It's, very, very safe. There'll be 3 new additional RFBs, those are, rapid rectangular flashing beacons, just like at First Street. There was 3 more down to, 7:30. They were supposed to wait, all that was, until after the, project was completed to put up a new speed sign. And, the speed was reduced, so be careful going through the area. It's now 30 miles an hour. You want to go to 25, but you want to go that slow you can. But it is 30 miles. Barring the change, if you go to the school zone. Safe route to schools is, exciting. That's finally, going to be starting on the second week of June, and that before school starts again. And it'll be, a speed launching pad, that's what I jokingly call it, in the middle of IES and IHS, is because there'll be a walking, 10-foot wide crossing like you get at an airport, and, it'll be raised, so if somebody hits that fast, I hope they have insurance for an undercarriage, but it'll, have an RFP on it also. The big one, that we have starting, and it's, I'm the only recipient in Eastern Oregon, is Senate Bill 1530 for housing. $1.7 billion, and it's for infrastructure. And it will go into 2 locations to put in infrastructure for housing that will go in. And engineers working on all that right now, but hopefully that will go out to bid in latter part of September, late October, should start on January. Money needs to be spent by the end of June. Otherwise, they have to go to the legislators to ask for money to go into the next biennium, and that's going to be a struggle because, well, the governor wants housing. The governor's office did not want it to be 85 million across the state the way it is. Because it didn't end up in the greater Portland, Salem area. It's spread across the state, so. We're very fortunate for that, and Representative Greg Smith and Senator Hansel helped process that through. The big one that I have that's still in works, and I forgot to call you that yesterday, Mark, is the incubator. We're moving forward, right? Ahead, so, and hopefully we go out to bid this fall and trying to work to secure some other additional money from some other areas, so we can look at getting the anchor that's in there will be a certified kitchen. See, I think we can build a shell. I don't think we can build the equipment in there, right? Lisa? So I'm gonna find some other money, but the community wanted that. It's at schools, you can't bring food in unless it's in a certified kitchen. And so we, before I got to the community, wanted a certified kitchen, so it's going to be a great added benefit. We're also working on, looking forward to, after most of the projects are done, there's a lot of them. But we're going to be looking at our SDC water rate study. They go hand in hand. A lot of times consultants will try to split those when we're split because you need them both. Can't do your SDC without your rate studies. And so we're going to do that because people need to see what it really costs to produce water. Water is free, but it costs a lot to deliver in the daily living. Looking at this next council meeting coming up in May, we're going to be looking at a city theme and model. The mayor is asking, going to be asking for the community and also the schools to find out what should be the theme for our model in here again. What should it look like? So that'll be a change coming up, and that'll be fun. And we're going to make some raffles in that. Collectively, looking at some of the infrastructure and planning that we're looking at, how do we find money, how do we keep looking forward. It's tough in the day we live in with current economics, but also the political environment. So hopefully we'll see that change. And one of the things that I know we talked about, I'm just going to go here, is how do we understand so we can support each other in process and planning in our respective jurisdictions, even though, as an example, something in UG that might be full county. We need to step back so that the decisions are made, in an official like myself, that we can take into account the local jurisdictions there. In so we need to look at that. I know it's important that we're supporting that, but when we do things, but how do we do that? Because it's challenging with many of some jurisdictions. The big one, I think that, and I'm still up there, we need to look at, Brandon and I talked about it, but I think that I'm working and the port and the city are looking at it, but it's all of us. And Commissioner Gregor, and I know that was the nitrate lawsuit. I think we need it, people need to read that, need to look at it. It's not going away, but you got from the local law and also from the city jurisdiction. We need to be very, very cautious of it. And how are we doing and what are we doing, not only in cities and jurisdictions, but as a county. So many on the north end, but I don't think it's going to stop there because these people don't want to stop. And it's going to affect our livelihood, not just in the north end. It's going to affect all of us across who we are as Moore County and across the whole region and in our state. Yes, I'll say it, people need drinking water, which is a bigger issue that's undertow, right, Commissioner Drago? And we need to be very, very cautious on that. And supportive of each other, because certain groups or people might want to point fingers at others, and I think we need to stand so that we can overcome this, beat the system, and get better. That good way to put it, like Lisa.
Thank you.
Big lift. So a lot going on. It is budget season, and I will say this: one of the things, the highlight of it is that we have crossed in this next budget year $1 million in unappropriated ending fund balance. Do you know anything about budgeting? That is commendable. That's where you lock that money until the next year. This next year, we go over $1 million. Set aside, frozen. So, good. Any questions?
The grant for your infrastructure for housing, do you have a developer to build once you get that, start to see that area?
They will be, they'll be developing, we're gonna get to their land, their properties, and they'll go from there. We're only doing it in public right of way. So we don't have it, and that's what we advocated for, and we got it. I asked for 3, I only got 2. Other than that.
I'm super excited about your model. That's cool. You went through that too, and I'm excited to see how you guys, how it turns out. Everyone here is going to be so much better than we have currently.
Kathy, we gotta do something to get people.
Yeah, well, good luck. That's exciting. Town of Lexington.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to just take this opportunity to introduce Autumn Crumpton, our new town recorder. You might know her from other places. She lives in Hebner, but we're really happy to have her on board, and I'm gonna just hand it over to her to give our update. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. So starting out with Anderson and Perry, we've hired them to engineer and design our new water system improvement project here in Lexington. We're conducting an income survey with Rural Community Assistance Corporation. The survey will allow eligibility for additional water system funding. Lexington is currently developing a nonprofit called Lexington Community Development Group. The mission of the group and vision will focus on business and community development enhancement and rehabilitation. The board will consist of 2 council members and 3 residents living in Lexington. Super exciting. Our week has been filled with planning our May Day celebration. Well, maybe not just this week, but so that's this Saturday, May 4th. Our events will start out with our fireman's breakfast at 7 a.m. Raffles start at 9 a.m. We have a soup and grilled cheese lunch at the fire hall at 10. 2024 Young Eagles event is happening at the Lexington Airport from 8:30 to 1:30. The ages for the kids, they can go up and do a free flight is 8 to 17. We have a registration for that. They have to pre-register for those. Soapbox Derby, the registration and weigh-ins are at 9 a.m. At the Lexington Fire Hall. We have a 5K run walk. The registration is at 8:45. The run walk starts at 9 a.m. Parade will promptly start at 11 a.m. We have a classic car show that is going from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We will have various vendors, food vendors, merchandise vendors. That's here at this town hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We have kids crafts, games, bouncy house. Here at the hall, it's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Live music featuring the Duncan Girls, Corey Peterson, Wade Aylett from noon to 4 p.m. We have a cornhole tournament that I'm hoping that everyone comes and participates in that. That's starting at 1 p.m. and beer garden from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. courtesy of the Broken Spoke. So I kind of hope that I see everybody there. So that's an official invitation.
Well, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Did I miss somebody over here?
No, I'll just wait for Darren.
I'd like to go to Lawyer Shed. Oh.
No.
Okay. Perfect. All right, Mark, any update?
Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Matt first, our administrator, and then, what's going on,
So, I was asked just to report on, 3 items. Well, actually, one of the things I had to tell Lexington, being new in the area, I've hit St. Patrick's Day Festival down in Hefner. That was awesome. My, family's planning on the May Day, so we're excited to come down and visit. My goal is to hit all the community events this year, just to enjoy them all. So, I will deny any request on which one's best. So, the 3 options that I have, or the 3 items that I'd like to talk about is, first of all, first nitrate water issues always big in the county. As Aaron had mentioned, with the lawsuit and everything, and the efforts that the court's going through, very sensitive. One of the things with that magnifying glass from regulators, national and state governments, the county's kind of been put into an interesting position to take a leadership role on this. Appreciate the efforts from above and in the past to get us there, and we're looking to do it, even though, you know, as many of us can say, we did contribute to it, but something needs to be done. The biggest challenge that we have is on the federal, state, and local level, no one regulates private residential wells, which is one of the biggest issues we have. So one of the problems is in Oregon, everybody's going, who do you go to? And nobody has an answer for that. And so the county and trying to service our residents are pulling together several resources. We've had some really good meetings over the last quarter with state agencies, Courtney Kroll from the governor's office, and that pulling in people, city of Boardman. We're pulling into the court on the next one because they're a big team play on that. And we're looking at how can we take all these studies and put it to application. A low hanging fruit is West Lynn. We are looking at that and looking at options on there. The Business Oregon has pretty much opened the gates and given us a green light for some technical assistant grants that we're going to be taking advantage of to explore the local improvement district for West Lynn and able to address it just because of the density. That's not to say we don't care about the other rural residents that are out there and struggling with this issue. But there's low-hanging fruit that we can attack, and there's other ones that will take additional time. Now, this doesn't say we're laying pipe tomorrow. This means that we're figuring things out. It is a community, local improvement district and some other solutions that we're looking at. We're trying to get enough information to pull the residents, of that community in, get their buy-in, show them options, and try to get some solutions in front of them. We appreciate the support of the city of Boardman, and as they look to possibly connect and help supply the water and receive the waste from that option. And that's not the only option we're looking at, but we're looking at other things. And also appreciate the board's interest in assisting in whatever way. On the other side, we have the Umatilla Morrow County well water testing that's going through a big grant. One of the things you might say, well, we tested wells all over the place. We've had different organizations doing it. The problem is, even the state, as they came out and did it, it's been done haphazardly. They come out and test a well, but there's no way to identify it. And so as some people might say, why are you testing more wells or wells again? It's because we need to have GPS monitoring and identification and really identify where things are hitting so we can track and check the flows. As the state water quality and DEQ mentioned, current tracking gets it down to a 40-acre parcel. And that's as close as they can get on the testing they've done in the past. And so that's not really good for science. And so we're working on that. We're excited about that. That'll be going on. That's going to be a 2-year process though, so we don't want to wait that long for known issues. And I appreciate the commission's support to entertain that and look at that. And we hope to position ourselves, since we do have that magnifying glass on our county and our residents here, to help to spin that into more federal and state funds to help alleviate this issue. And so we're working very hard on that. The other one, ambulance service plan, the ordinance has been adopted. Mid-July will be when it goes into effective date. Appreciate as we've reached out to the cities for representation for the initial provider selection committee. We have all but Lexington, and there's some extenuating circumstances on that. And we look to get that one from them this month. We are presenting the schedule for that proposal to the commission tomorrow, and once that's approved and the process is approved, we'll have the RFQ out by Monday, hopefully. And not hopefully, upon approval of the schedule, and we'll be able to get through this process and try to stabilize this, the uncertainty of this that's been in people's minds. Final one is circuit court. As you know, we were dead set with Hefner and Fairgrounds, and we've had to take a step back with the changing target on there. Appreciate Hefner, Port Morrow, helping out and making some other options. We've reviewed some other sites throughout the county. We're still looking at the Fairgrounds as the preferred, with the mill site as a very viable option. And we have a couple others that the commission will be reviewing tomorrow and giving us, it's weird because all three are here. But as I say this, they have the packet though, so they're looking through that. And we'll be making some determination on what and when and how we should proceed. And so hopefully we can get that going in a timely manner and get that on that project on track. So those are the 3 items that I have specifically, Chair.
Yeah, forests. So the forests are open. Western route's open. Make it you kayak. Yay. Mushrooms are popping. Time to get up to the mountains, do some camping. Spend some time out there. So there are wolves up there, and we've had 2 confirmed kills so far this year. We have our meeting this coming next month, and go the paperwork and make sure we can work that. The people made it whole there. So we had Todd Nash brought in Congressman Bentz and all of the Eastern Oregon counties, and had a pretty candid discussion about some wolves. Went very well, good turnout. Lots of information, lots of questions. The big question is when is enough? How many goals do we need in order? We already have too many. They're already moving into Western. That might change perspective once they get there. But there's too many goals. They're calling 283 pairs, mating pairs, and it's probably closer to 600 in reality. So I think there's 283 in the wild now. Unfortunately, they really did hit hard. Anyway, it was a good turnout, lots of good information, something to keep an eye on. They're really gonna work hard to get them removed off the list. Protection. So hopefully that happens. Good calendar.
Anybody have any questions? Or wonderful pets in the mountains. Okay, I guess I'll speak to, some of the stuff that we're doing with the board, so I don't know, John's the chairman of the Boardman, so maybe I'll let him just Boardman. Did you want me to do that?
Not good, I just all that.
All right, we let out our first bid proposal on a project. Last meeting we had, very excited about that. And this is, the project is to provide broadband, high speed access to those who don't have it in the rural areas. Most of us in the city, we know, because we have commission, we'll do it out there, it's not viable, so the county and the board have a consortium put together. And the money's coming down, actually, federal money, you probably heard about it a couple of years ago, $1.1 billion infrastructure came down to the state. And I think more county may end up with 40 million, I think it was the figure I heard. This particular project is going to be 72 miles and John, Jeff said that. 72 miles, I think 280 people and $2.5 million. And we're way ahead of the game, I gotta tell you, we're on top of it. I got an email the other day from the neighboring county and they said, could you help us get our broadband action team together? We understand there's money coming out. They said, so we are doing very well for you guys. And we're gonna get broadband out to a lot of people that don't have kids that be interested. Okay, that's broadband. I want to talk about the renewables, because that's getting some big here, of course. We got the 10,000 acre solar farm, most of us know Sunstone, just south of the bombing range. They're in the process of, their permit is in front of SSEC. And is Katie there? Katie, there she is. She's on the outside. We got the local celebrity now, right? You on the outside, Katie? So,
Yeah, the whole 3 months.
anyway,
Yeah.
So, Sunstone's permit is from SSEC. They're trying to get approved to what they call the Goal 3, which allows development on farmland. So that's what that is. They're working with us to implement a mitigation plan, which will supposedly offset some of the costs in the county when they develop solar on the prime farm ground. So that's coming down the line. Then close to that, we have it's a 4,800 acre, another solar farm, wagon trail, I believe. So that's kind of coming down the pike. Wheat Ridge East, which is, some of you remember, we had Wheat Ridge West, which is big one, it's already built out. Wheat Ridge East is the one from Maxterra that is going to be built overlap in eastern Morrow, western Umatilla, remember the whole thing over to Morrow. So we got a road plan together with that, a road agreement. We should see those towers probably start moving in pretty soon. I met Mike Boardman and I met with the head guy on that project. Got talking about some things that we would talk about. Super agreement and so forth. So we got that. Oh, and then one other thing that kind of ties into this, some of you might have read this in the paper. Umatilla County was appealed the decision, announced that decision to the Supreme Court of Oregon. And what that trial was about was Umatilla County wanted to have a 2 mile setback for any wind tunnels. LSEC said, we can override that if we want to. We'll take it to the Oregon Supreme Court. We got a call from Umatilla County Commissioners, said, would you like to be what they call friends of the court? And well, we told them, well, we don't want to get involved with what a setback is, 2 miles, 1 mile, we don't want to do that. But we do think we ought to have local control. So we spent some of your money as a friend of the court. And we argued in front of the Supreme Court. I don't think arguing, I really, it's briefing, and I looked at the one that was arguing. And it was basically all about local control. We want to keep local control. We don't want what's called superseding, which when FSEC comes in, or any state agency comes in and says, we're going to override the local land use. Unfortunately, Umatilla County lost, which we all lost. So that's how that happened. So I think that's the main things. Oh, and then the fourth plan is also the fourth plan. I can start talking about that. And we're going to be checked up to date on that. We signed an agreement with the Forest Service. And you might, any of you who love the forest, want to use the forest, just like Roy does, you know, keep an eye on this, because this plan, they tried it once before it misfired. And they kind of fell apart. We're going to start the effort again, but it's going to judge, it's going to guide how they use the forest moving forward for I don't know how many years. So keep your eye on this, because it might be loaded up with a lot of things. So
What was it called? What are we at?
it's,
The the National Forest Service plan.
and I, you know, and I talked to them, I don't know, I'll remember, but anyway, no, they're not, they're local guys.
It's
Uh,
there.
No, they're good, they are good people, and they're better than machines. You know, I told them, the people here in Morrow County, it's real to them, it's not a Hollywood movie, it's not a concept. They spend time up there, they know the forest, it's not like somebody from, I think that means, Brooklyn, New York. And one of the people told me, yeah, the thing is, Brooklyn, New York owns that forest just like you do, even though they'll never know them, you know. Anyway, keep your eye on it, so you can give input along the way as they develop the plan. So I think that's kind of all I got. I don't know, judges, we're talking about CBA.
Well, the CDA, there was 2 months ago now, a month ago, the vote was taken, transfer the property that was in Morrow County would become the title owner would be the Port Memorial, and what's in Umatilla County, the Port of Umatilla would become the title owner for that. And, you know, at least from my perspective of it, the thing with that is that what's in our county, we should be in control of. We shouldn't allow the other entities to be able to tell us what we want to do. You know, Lisa, Port Commission brought a project, was going to develop it out there on Morrow County side under the old organization structure. 3 other entities could have voted that way. They could have gone to court with the same entity, put it on their side, the town line, and approved it, we would get out with it. But again, it really came down to what's in our county, we ought to have to say on what we're doing in our county, not letting other entities. And our goal is that, you know, the tribes that got 4,000 acres, that none of us get a say. So why would they get a say on what's going to happen out there? The industrial property that we got out there is close to 1,900 acres. We got about half of it's got unrestricted use overlays on it, and that really covers the acres. So there's a little 900 acres that would be prime industrial on for project development. I guess that'd be the update on the CBA, unless Kelly's representative, who said something else.
I have a question.
Now, I think that's all the county has, so if somebody got some questions, then else. Other than that, I mean. Any questions? That's it.
All right, anybody got any questions, comments
Thank you.
for tomorrow?
It's gonna be me. I'll start with the easy stuff and do the hard stuff. We do projects in every community. Just want to remind everyone here of that. If there's a project that you need some help with, whether it's equipment or manpower, some engineering services. We've done all kinds of things in those categories in every community. So currently working on irrigated incubator building. I just have a request from the Irrigate Park District for help with engineering for parking lot expansion. I don't know if you know about that yet. Working on the track and Iowa's Mark had mentioned. Boardman, we got called to assist the park district with a goat head infiltration on the fields. And after the Riverside baseball season is done, they'd like some work up there helping with some drainage issues that they've had for a long time. Also working on workforce development. Be sure and check our Facebook page. There's frequent posts that talk about jobs that are available with all the businesses around the county. They are working very hard on job training, on internships. Currently are doing the interviews for internships in all of the communities with high school kids. I think Anna said they have up to 72 positions that they can fill. So that is growing every year that they do it. They also have a college internship program where they will work with local students, or they will reach out to universities in the Northwest and bring students here, which gives them a taste of working in an industry, and maybe they want to come back. So those are all good things. Constantly we're putting a pitch in for engineers. If you know anyone, we need engineering and professional services here desperately. So keep on the lookout for those. Congressionally directed spending, the board has submitted applications now for area that was successful. Boardman just was awarded $1.5 million, and we put in a request for the city of Bayonne for $1.8 million. And that will not be, that will probably be looked at in next fiscal year, federal fiscal year. So we'll see how those are going. We are managing $2.5 million that is an appropriation from the state of Oregon. The city of Ione will get $1 million of that, and the city of Hefner will get $1.5 million. I'm assuming we know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working really hard to get the paperwork back. I got told this morning for Business Oregon, and we have to get that work done to get the contract. So I want a really good description of the work to be done so we can populate that document. We are doing grant management for a lot of port construction going on right now. And I think Mark will be able to talk to you a little bit about build project, but we're getting around the corner to get done. So you want to go ahead and talk about that and currently and utilities and explain how our construction projects are used as matched.
Okay, for the build project especially. So the build project, we actually got $6.5 million from the state of Oregon for the build rail and speed. And we actually took that 6.5 and leveraged it for a $19.5 million grant for our build project. This build project allows us to go directly from barge to rail, to truck, from barge back. We never had an opportunity to pass directly transload one to the other. The project is nearing completion, roads are done, rails complete. We're going through the training bids, currently writing out, we've made out all front. New set of scales and a high, wide, heavy route. So we'll be able to take huge transformers off in here and take them back and without then having to go through the boards through any type of restrictions. So that project, we should be pretty well done in September of this year. So it'll be glad to get it done. Be glad to get it done when we need to be because they have been struggling. even though we're doing it within the neighborhood, it's a struggle. So, but that'll hit the DEQ projects real quick,
Yes.
compliance ones.
Yep.
Secondary treatment, we're opening bids on that, May 9th. We had pre-bid meeting, last week. We had 4 good generals show up for that project. That are very qualified to do the project. This project somewhere between 80 and $130 million. So we've got 80 in our budget for it, but we got contingency on top of that to cover everything that we don't know. So all the designs are done, instructions, hoping to start in July. Winter storage lagoons, they're also at 100% design. We got DEQ approval on those 2 weeks ago. Those will be going out to bid, and we're opening up bids on those towards the end of the month. And we're hoping to be in construction on those in July also. So, Farm 5 expansion, we're looking at putting another 700 acres into our land application on Farm 5. We have LLE items, long lead items out to bid currently on that project. We should have our middle package done and completed into DEQ by May 15th. And we're hoping to have that 700 acres in our application program sometime in September of this year. So it should definitely help us on any type of violations we get. That kind of covers the
Flood mitigation.
flood mitigation after. Yes, Anderson Perry is still working on the 1200 seed permit. We're going back and trying to find all sorts of information on sign off from DEQ on some of the cleanup that's done up there. So we've got to dig in some more files. Don't know how that's really going to affect that 1200 seed when we're looking down next to it. I know there was a lot of work done there. I wasn't working at the floor when that happened. So, I don't know how much it's going to affect it. Right. What we may have to do is go in there and do some more test pits, get some sign off from DEQ before we start again. But we thought we had it all taken care of. I have to get in Ron against old file. Yeah, I'm working on that. Flexibility, we got the bid documents pretty well prepared for that up there. Kind of waiting to see what happens with the courthouse before we put it out to bid. But I'm hoping for the end of the month, this next month, we'll bid that project.
There's a lot of good synergies that could happen on that site. We all need to work together. See if we can figure out how to happen. So.
As far as the flood mitigation part, is there a design for the actual work that they're doing?
Oh, yeah, that's all been completed.
Is that, I know the last time I went to the website, it was just kind of and this is a month ago, there's kind of one page, we're getting. Is there anywhere on the website that you can like see? What?
Yeah, there's a full set of plans.
Okay.
And basically what it is, John, is they're taking dirt, they're not actually working in the grid, but they're working just above the grade of water and they're widening that channel. So there's 160,000 yards we have to do on site. So working through that 1200 feet, the DEQ sign off from the previous work was asked about. So, we'll see what happens there. I don't think it's a killer, I don't think it's going to stop the project. We may just have to do some more tests before we complete our 1200 feet.
We have alongside this with the contractors and they didn't want to take the responsibility of doing that.
Yeah, that's that.
And we're doing that ourselves.
Yeah, because it would have taken just as long, if we'd have handed them It would have cost a lot more money, because they wouldn't know what they were getting into, so they would have thought their bid at the government's cost. So we took it back, we'll work through it, and once we work through it, we'll get the bid started back up. We had quite a few contractors show up in that pre-bid meeting, so we do have a lot of interest.
Oh, progress, we're excited with the progress.
So we want to talk a little bit about the WIPIA, loan, that is the federal EPA loan that will be hopefully funding all of the improvements that we're making. It's 80% of our total project costs. The other 20% of those project costs are coming from projects that we're already doing on infrastructure that are all being paid by other investments. So that program is not one that is a taxpayer funded program. The WIPIA loan will be directly tied to our water and wastewater users. So I think that's important for you to know that there's 9 major customers here that will be paying those bills. And what we're looking at right now is quadrupling the rates. It is a big investment. The loan is currently sitting at $406 million. It's a big project, it's a big lift. You're the first port to have applied for this, so everything is new. I would say that our meetings are going well with the EPA staff. We've been through a lot of financial due diligence and environmental engineering reviews, and we're down to trying to work through conditions on a term sheet that would then go and populate the loan agreement. And we spent a couple hours on the meeting. Was it just Monday? Yesterday. And we left Eileen to finish up the meeting because we're part of another meeting, but we're working through all of those conditions with our contracted staff and EPA staff and their contracted financial and attorneys. So that's what we're doing right now. Once we get past this, we're hoping for funding of that project. We're hoping for the end of June. It's not looking like it's going to be the July, but it will be a big sigh of relief to get that piece of it done, and a huge amount of construction that Mark is already bidding out, and I'm wanting to go ahead and start awarding some contracts. So for construction, we've got deadlines to meet, so we want to keep working on that. We've also been in a lot of discussions with DEQ on our current fine that you've read about in the newspaper. With that fine, we are able to apply for a SEC, which is a supplemental environmental project. And we have reached out to New York County and asked them if they would be interested in working on that kind of a project, and they would actually be the applicant. So we're meeting again with more County to talk about what that might be, and working with the city board. And so the Westline area is, I would say, a pilot project. And I will be working to figure out what it's going to take to put a pipeline in the ground for the city of Boardman, and how that really will operate and function. And then we will go to knock on Aaron's door and try to do the same thing. And at the same time, working with all of the other households here, with the county that still needs a drinking water at their houses. So that's something we're going to continue to work on. CDA, Jeff touched on that a little bit. I just want to let you know that courts are economic development agencies. That's what we do. That property has been something that we've been trying to acquire for the last 30 years. And it's not that we need that property tomorrow, although we can start using it tomorrow. It's really looking out for the next 30 years and the next 50 years to continue to make sure that there is economic vitality in our county. So Morrow County's not losing anything here. I've heard that Morrow County gave something up. This is all investment in Morrow County. The assets that will be invested on that property will bring the assessed value up in North County. It will continue to try and create healthy jobs here. So that's what we're working on and our plans for the CDA.
So can I add something more to that? I thought what you were saying. Well, I think it's important to note that everybody realizes that the Army did what they call an economic conveyance to the CDA. So what that means is that whenever the property is sold out there, say a personal property is sold for $1 million, the parties of the CDA can split up that amongst themselves and put it in their own funds. Because it's an economic conveyance for 7 years after the date of transfer, that money has to be spent back on the CDA, and whether that be infrastructure, paying for the director to manage it, or marketing of the property. There's a kind of list of things that's allowed that's to be spent on, and obviously the most obvious one would be infrastructure. There isn't any good infrastructure out there now, so it's only going to be obvious that the money that anybody gets for selling that property, you would just invest that money back into that property to serve that first client and any future clients. And I say 7 years, but that's after there's parcel 1, which is what we got transferred. Then there's another parcel 2 that they call, it's about 28 acres on the very northwest corner of the depot, and it's outside the fence. And so the 7-year clock starts after the transfer of that. And at this point, nobody knows when that's going to get transferred. I don't remember what the hang up is from the Army to get it transferred, but nobody knows that in the next 3 to 5 years, it could be 10 years from today before parcel 2 ever gets transferred. So that's when the 7-year clock starts. So, under my example there, it could be 17 years or more before you sell that property and somebody can take the proceeds from that property and put it into the budget to spend as they want. So as it is now, any kind of property is sold out there, the proceeds have to be spent on that property. It can't be used to backfill the county's budget or anybody else's budget. That has to be spent on that property. And I do believe that, the other thing is that when they first started talking about this as the LRA, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, it was always the intent that the property involved would go to the port. It was in the Utah County for the port, so that was always the original intent. And then, I think from the county's perspective is, it is for economic development of the region as a whole. That's always been the intent. And the county will benefit from this when something is developed up there and we start collecting property taxes. That's where the county is going to benefit financially from this, is get development out there and get property taxes. So I think that's what's the part of it. People know that we alluded to, some people I don't think understood that.
I just think it's a misconception. We're the developer, the county, and the assessor of the counties continue to grow with those assets that are built on property. We are open for business, just want everyone to know that. We are showing sites constantly. We show sites here in the East Beach. We have shown sites out in our depot on the county side. So just know that we continue to get inquiries and have site visits. We're happy to look toward the future. We're not shut down for business. That's another thing that I keep hearing. Any project that's coming to look at us right now is looking for a date to start production of their facilities, probably 2, 3, 4 years down the road. So there's definitely a lot of time for us to get projects put in place and make sure that we have infrastructure and the needs of whatever that industry is. So I guess I would take it.
The 700 acres that you hope to have by September, will that be for winter water application?
Yes.
Excellent.
Can you expound a little bit on the high right and heavy? To thermal grid. Yeah, what are the high right and heavy prospects?
So go ahead.
Matt was asking me what they're just gonna do containers on it. I said, no, it's not.
No.
It's
No.
We get all kinds of requests all the time.
So like windmill, windmill pieces,
You windmill pieces.
generators.
Generator.
So we did a project for Dallas Dam 6 years ago. We brought in 36 generators. One was a three-phase standard, and all the rest of them were single phase, so they had to be in 3 different blocks. And they're huge, right? And we trucked those from Texas, and they would take 15 to 18 days to get to the port here. Now they can take those through the panel, bring them right up here, take them on, and then go to the port. You know, they couldn't handle it at the Dallas, they had to come off here to the only place they could do it. But I think those kinds of things are great for the air. And like, people don't understand, you know, what's going on, why is it going, what are they doing? Lots of questions about what highlight tech means.
Right, and this is an organization that we're working with ports and transportation members. All the way from, Vancouver up to Lewiston, Longview, so there's a lot of people working on this as a joint project. This just happens to be a great place to make sure that we can move products on the river as safely as we can and economically and get them off of the river and onto other transportation. So all the improvements that we're making with this build money, which was $19.4 million, I believe, and another $1.6 million turnover improvement grant that was funded by Marriott on the Marine Highway. That will be all improvements that can help accommodate other things. So it's different transportation corridors than traditionally we've done.
Do you anticipate any difficulties with Terminal 6 closing in the port? What is this?
And unfortunately, for us, we haven't had one export on for the Portland in years, so.
20,000 containers a year to zero.
Yeah.
3 months.
And so the shippers here have all found another way to get their product to market, so
Much more expensive.
it is more expensive. If Portland gets that figured out, I mean, their plans are they can find someone to operate that, so they will open it back up. It's just a shame they were losing so much money a month, they couldn't afford to keep doing it. But for now, our shippers are putting their products in a truck and driving them to Puget Sound.
Yes. Shipping ones, green line, they'll never come back into the port. Yeah.
Portland is a
It's
very small port, as West Coast ports go.
And you can't get post ice.
Right.
But
Yes, and it's shallow draft.
Shallow.
It's not. Any other questions?
I have a mark at our last meeting, the site that the kind of the port was looking at the county port building, that was below the road, right? Or no, what we did,
We left any place where. And so we basically told the county wherever you guys look at the hillside. Up hillside to the north, to the south, down below the road. Wherever we're.
and south longer, is it out of what way currently?
Part of it is.
So it would be the project to be, the previous project, mitigation project should be viable now.
No, it does not have to go through the condition to buy.
But our plans for the future of that project.
Flood mitigation. It's not a 6-month project. Thank you. Any other questions? How about for the good for the order? We're at that point of the agenda, good for the order.
Like to thank Boardman for.
Yeah.
hosting.
Do what?
I'd like to thank Boardman for hosting again.
You're welcome. Mr. Chairman.
I heard there was a site in Boardman that's being looked at for the county courthouse, but I have not heard where that is.
Next year, house.
What's your address? Yeah.
The county has a 2 acre spot,
Corner of Olson.
Bolton, yes, yeah, that was originally chosen for a transit center, but there's, cart for the horse thing on testing, and it's eliminated consideration for grant funds, because of that, and so it's a nice corner spot. We're doing our due diligence. We realize the courthouse, has historical and political, ramifications down in the south part of the valley, south part of the county, particularly with Pepper. And so, we've looked at that. It is a very cost-effective, piece because all the infrastructure is right there and everything. But it's not like, I haven't had a single Boardman, elected official come and say, hey, bring it on up here. But it's part of my due diligence as county administrator. I did list that as a potential site. And that's one of the things that the commissioners get to mull over tomorrow. But so that's, but generally, there's been an emphasis on keeping it down south. So yes, there was a site that was discussed.
I just read that in the paper, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Didn't check where.
It's an incredibly nice shovel-ready boring lawn. So, yes, and so unless the commission shows me, tells me otherwise, we'll be looking for use for it.
Any other good for the order? All right, meeting adjourned.